today we got to play the Age of Atlantis. So this is a game about Atlantis and defeating the horde that is coming after you. All right, Randy. Before you start telling us about this amazing game, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because board games are awesome, and that's what we do here. So, Randy, tell us about the Age of Atlantis.
So this was a Kickstarter release, a 2022 release. Board Game Geek rating has it at 7.5 currently, and Board Game Geek rank is currently 5605. It's a 1 to 4 player game. Average length is 90 minutes. I think ours went a little longer, but it was a learning game for you too. Mm-hmm. Age is 14 and up. It's designed by Daniel Aronson and Nick Tompkins. Art is by Justin Spike. Published by Dorado Games. Now, I don't believe this is getting a retail release, or at least it hasn't. I haven't seen it available at any of the retailers for pre-order. This was a Kickstarter upgraded version. This was the very deluxe version with painted minis and everything. But I do see it on the Geek Market currently, which, again, Geek Market, they've said is going away on Board Game Geek in September. So
why are they going to get rid of it?
I don't know. I don't think they had enough support for it, and they were partnering with someone who decided to get out of the auction management business. So I think it's, they're supposedly getting rid of it. They're still going to have where you can order from their Geek Store, but the Geek Market they're not going to maintain. So on the Geek Market, though, presently I see copies of it for US from $79 to $88 with one outlier for $150. I'm not sure if the $150 is the deluxe painted version or not. Mm-hmm. But if you're interested in this, you might want to check it out. There's also some non-US ones out there for various prices in euros, but I'm not sure what all they were.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about the quality of components. Oh my goodness, look at these miniatures. They're freaking amazing.
I was super impressed by the statue of Poseidon.
Yeah. Well, it comes in the box with a plastic one, but it's still that size. Mm-hmm. And this was for the Kickstarters who backed it. You got the brass or whatever, but it's very heavy. But it's a very intricate statue. It floored me when it came. And
yes.
I mean, if you had just the plastic version, it still looks amazing. It's the same exact sculpt. So, I mean, you're not missing out other than just the sheer beauty of that statue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so there's definitely things that are a little bit of eye candy for this game, and I can truly greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, but there's a mixed bag, because the cards are very meh. They're tiny, but they have to be to fit on the board.
The cheat sheet is literally...
sheet, yes.
It should have been cardstock.
Yeah, I mean, they went all above and beyond on the minis, and, I mean, the wooden buildings are screen printed, which is nice.
And I appreciate the playboard, how you can set your cubes into...
They're inlaid.
It's super nice. The dice they're not really dice in this. They're your workers, and they work fine. They're a little small, but they're fine.
Yeah.
But it's a mixed bag. The board is okay. It's not a great board. It's got creases or sometimes wanting to pop up when you're on the board, but they're not horrible. But they even screen printed the little spore tokens, which they really didn't need to do, but it looks nice.
Yes.
No, it is very pretty. Yeah, so it's kind of like you said, there's a little bit of mixed bag here. And it's, at the end of the day, did they put the money where they should have put it? I think they did an okay judge on that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the cheat sheet.
The cheat sheet and the cards are what bother me. But, there's no linen finish. They're smooth finish, but they're shiny.
But I wasn't as bothered by the cards, but...
This is where it bugged. Because I'm so afraid I'm going to, crinkle it or something.
Well, it's really hard to shuffle these as small as they are.
That's probably why.
But, but then again, they also have to be small because they act to space,
they fit fine on
and
the board.
You can't really make this board any bigger.
No, it's a pretty substantial board.
Right.
So, I don't think I'm going to ding it a lot. If they had done everything...
Look at the first player. It's like this pretty jewel thing. They did a good job on that too, by the way.
If they had done this with everything being at the high end, I probably would have given it a 10. I think the things that are done well are done extremely well.
Yes.
I'm probably going to give it a 9 still, just because it is a sheer beauty to have this on the table. The table presence is amazing on it.
Yeah. I'm actually going to agree with you, Anand, and there's a couple of reasons why. I understand that, price point does matter to a lot of people. And I think they put the money in the most important places for this game. And I think they did really well. I think the miniatures are absolutely outstanding. And the things that were a little bit of a letdown weren't a huge thing, so it was kind of okay, just because the presence was there. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm at a 9 too. Really, for me, the only, because I didn't have to shuffle the tiny cards, the only issue was the cheat sheet being paper.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now let's talk about the theme. Okay, you're in Atlantis, and you are trying to defend the city against the horde of whatever's coming after you. I have no idea what it is.
I thought it was kind of funny that you wore the 44 BCE shirt while we're playing this, because we did have the Romans coming and attacking, so it was very thematic for
Miranda's Team Roman over there.
In the end, no. And so basically you have these mechs or...
Yeah, I didn't understand why they were mechs, but it's cool, but...
Well,
they're myths.
Theory behind Atlantis is that they were a technologically advanced society, so that really pulls the theme in more, I feel like.
Yeah.
But they pulled in the Cerberus and created mythical, but there's that's a mythical creature there was one of, but there it had 3 heads, but there was only one of it, but now there's 3 of it. The same for the Minotaur and
No, but it's okay. It's okay. I mean
But since they're mechanical, you could mass produce them.
Right. Well, and here's the thing though, if you're in battle, you may only see, in your area you may only see one, so you'd be like, there was this one dog. Turns out there was 3 of them, right? But overall I think it was actually a pretty good theme. You're trying to save Atlantis, you're trying to, earn favor with the god, Poseidon, because he is the
god of the sea.
God of the sea, and that's where you be living. And so there's some, things going on. All the buildings made sense for what you were trying to do. And, I really wish I could tax some more. Y'all were like trying to avoid the taxes, which shame on you. Shame
I didn't
on
even
you.
actually need any of the spaces that you had the
Yes,
taxes in.
fine. No, but anyway, so no, overall I think the theme was actually really good. You can almost kind of see a civilization kind of building. I thought that was actually...
And this is one of the few games that has variable player powers that, one, I feel like it's pretty well balanced across the powers, and 2, I like the fact that it's variable player power. There's a lot of games where I feel like the variable player powers are a detriment to the game. It's intrinsic to this game, and I think it makes sense thematically with the game. I really like the fact that they chose the way they did, and they feel powerful. Everybody's powers were unique and felt powerful.
Yeah. I can agree with that. Overall, theme-wise, by the way, art's really good. Love the art. Yes. I think they were spot on the art. So whoever did that, fantastic job. So for theme, I'm going to keep with a 9. I think they did fantastic with the theme.
Yeah, I might actually go 9.5 on it. I think it's almost perfect. I mean, I love the art. I love the statues. I love the look of the game.
I just wish the buildings were standing up.
Well, just flip them up, Miranda.
I think you talking about adding to the cost. If you built 3D image buildings to go in each one of these that you could set your die on.
Hey, just have an add-on, all right? We have a 3D printer. I can make this happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the only thing I ding it for is I think the cards are a little basic when you look at them, especially the backs. I mean, the backs are very bleh.
But again, they tried to focus on where they spent their money.
Well,
and
I know.
think
I'm talking about the theme, though. I'm talking.
No, I know.
That takes you away when you look at the card, and they just say Roman army, Persian army. There's art in it, but the text is just kind of meh, and the back just looks, basic.
So
completely.
you wanted them to name a specific Roman emperor? Or...
Well, they could have just had a little fancier work on the art. I mean, on the text. It's a little basic, but the back is what really stands out to me, is the back of those cards. It's just generic.
What else are you going to do with them? They're Roman numerals.
You can have some kind of fancy edging or something.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe.
Because, you look at these podiums on these statues, and they're very intricately carved. I mean, they look like the tops of the columns you would see in the Parthenon and such.
Well, you might be able to do a Greece inlay, a Roman inlay.
Yeah, they're so beautiful, and the cards just stand out as being not.
Yeah, okay. I mean, sure. What are your score?
I'm also at a 9.5 on theme. I think they did a really good job of that. So
okay, all right. So now let's then get into the rule book.
This is the nice thing about this game. When you first look at it, it looks like it's going to be a fairly heavy learn. Mm-hmm. The rule book is only 4 pages long, and that is incredible.
I will say that the cheat sheet's pretty spot on too.
Yeah,
so
and the board has the
helpful.
phases of the play. I mean, you just step through it. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to pick this up. It's when I first got this out, like, oh, this looked intimidating, and then I looked at it, it's only 4 pages long, and yes, it's a fairly large book, and there's no cover. It's straight into the text, but it's an easy read, and it's the back page is really just the myths and then FAQ. So the gameplay is actually only 3 of these pages. So it's really not a bad read at all. And it's laid out nicely. It's tiny font. I will give it that. I will say it should have been a little bigger font. And if so, they could have put some more pages in here and I would have been okay with it because it is a little tiny. But they do have nice borders to tell you the different sections. And it's fairly simplistic to identify, simple to find everything you want in it. I'm probably going to go ahead and give this an 8. I think it's a good rule book, and it teaches the game effectively. Now, I will say they did break some of it out, but they even though they cheated a little bit getting into the 4 pages, they do have a reference guide that kind of walks you through how your thing works as far as your board, but it also has on there all the building actions. Wow. So this is really a nice reference sheet. And I'm glad they separated it out. This is something that's nice to have on the table where you can reference it whenever there's a question.
And it's easy to pass back and forth if somebody needs to specifically look at their building. Your
basic stuff is all right here on the sheet.
Yeah.
And they went above and beyond to try to make this easy to pick up and learn by, if you had somebody that had difficulties with it, you could give them a sheet and each one has a strategy on it for them to pursue if they want to just focus on how to focus on one specific strategy for scoring. I thought, that was a clever way to try to introduce new gamers into this. So given that, I think an 8, I'll make it go an 8.5 because of that, because that's a unique way. I'm not seeing that a lot where it's like, okay, if I've got somebody who's brand new to gaming and I want to introduce them to a game like this, how am I going to do that? I'm going to give them something that tells them, you follow this strategy and that's an approach to teach you how to play this.
Yeah. All right, so now let's talk about gameplay. So the gameplay is that your dice has workers. Now, the face of the dice changes as you complete actions or get them trained to be Atlanteans. So,
and it reflects how happy they are.
Correct. Yep. Morale is very important when you're dealing with soldiers and workers. Okay, so basically I have a worker here that I'm going to go place. Now this guy does not have a sword, and because he doesn't have a sword, I can only play him in the safe area, which is the inner ring of the city. Now, I do have a couple
safe is a relative word there.
Well, ish.
When you're first starting the game, it's safe.
Yes.
And then I have one here with a sword that I could possibly go out, but you don't get those at the starting of the game. They require action. So we'll just start from the center and move on. So if you go into the center here, you can train your worker, right? So I have one with no sword. I can spend 3 fish and get him to have a sword.
And that turns him into an Atlantean, an official Atlantean.
Correct.
He's just a peasant until you
when you get drafted, you get citizenship. Okay, so that's a pretty standard fare. All right. So then I would change that face to the one with the sword and put him on here. The other action you can do in the center is you can worship Poseidon. And by doing that, you'll increase your favor by 2, which triggers different in-game victory points at the end, as well as you don't want to go negative because you lose a bunch of victory points. So just keep that in mind. All right, so that's if I went here. Now, there are, if I go to any of a particular resource, so you'll notice this here is for fish, these are for rubies, and this is for forestry. If I go to any of these locations, I can choose to obviously gain 2 of that resource. Okay, so I just place it, I use my action to get the resources. Now, there are standard buildings that do occur that can affect them. So if I go to we'll go to the town hall first.
So you have to build those buildings. They don't the board is completely empty at the beginning. So you can choose to pay resources. Everybody has 4 of the same type of building and then 1 that's custom for that player's special ability that you can build. And then once you've built it, you can go to them.
Yeah, correct. So, so then you can trigger that building. So if you do trigger that building, the actions that you can take on the building is based on the era that you're in, and it will have a little white marker on the board. Now, if I do end up wanting to attack, I can come here and say I'm going to use 1 attack action and reduce this enemy by 2. Okay, so then I would turn him to the appropriate 2. Now, then I can choose to spend another action, though, because I want this dude dead. He's in my way. All right, so right now my guy is at 2 smiley faces. I'm going to reduce him down to 1 to take that second action. Okay, and then I'm going to kill him and taking him forward. Now, here's the thing, though. I am still desperate. I still need to do another action, so I can choose. I'm going to gain 2 resources, for example, or if there was another action I could take, and I could go into the sad face.
Yeah, I like the fact that they chose to do the theater acting masks to make them happy and sad. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So basically, you can go from 2 1 happy to 1 sad face. And that basically means a max of 3 actions per worker if they're completely full at the time that you do that. Okay. All right. So then. The other thing that you can do is research technology. Okay. So if you again go to any location.
Any building.
And
it doesn't have to be your own. You can go to other players' buildings.
Right.
As long as it's not their special building, you cannot use their special building.
Right. And then you can research that building, okay? And you pay the research, which is the exact same as the build cost, which you will find on your player board at the very top of the row. Okay, so basically you'll get a cube, you'll place it on what you are doing, and again, it matters what era. You're only allowed to research era 1 during era 1. When you do era 2, you can go anything from 2 and up and 3 and up based on the era. All right, so then the next thing you can do is the myth action. So eventually, hopefully through temple work, okay, you can go and you can build one of these suckers. So when you go to build them, look at that. All right, I'm going to be able to do a couple of things. Now, each player has a different mech, and those mechs specialize in certain things. My mechs focus on gathering, so they can attack, but they're kind of crappy at it.
I think it's more fetch than gather for yours, because
yeah. So because mine's a puppy. All right, so basically I can gather 6 resources if I want. I can move up to 4, but my attack is only 2. But you can increase that again through the temple actions. You can increase the strength of these mechs, and just even for creating them, you get 15 points. So kind of worth it. We should have done that earlier in the game.
Yes, especially when you get to round 3 or era 3, they come out fast and furious at that point, and we had none of our mechs really deployed at that point.
I think some people were a little more focused on other things. Anyway,
who won the game?
Yeah, I was last place horribly.
Just saying.
Because I didn't know what I was doing.
I was focused on upgrading my board because that's what I like to do.
Yep, that's kind of what you do.
I was focused on getting my buildings out.
Yeah, and I wasn't focused on anything, it seems, because no one wanted to pay their taxes. All right. So anyway, so those are the 6 actions you can take. Obviously, so you take your actions, and then you go through here the phases of the play, and it walks you through it. So Atlantis, Charity, whoever is not up in front on the points get to move up 1 of their smiley faces. They can move it to a smiley face, or 2. They can basically upgrade it once.
Increase morale.
Increase morale once if you're not in first place. And then you can go to the morale status. Now, here's the thing. If you have any not smiley faces, you will lose favor with Poseidon because you are not taking care of his followers. But if they're all happy, nothing happens. Good job. All right, and then achievement phase. Okay, so depending on the era that you're on, so for example, area 1, you'll go through and say, has anyone completed these achievements? Does anyone have 4 buildings built? Does anyone have 2 resource cubes? Does anyone have this? And then whoever, not just one person, whoever qualifies for that, they will get a cube placed over there, which will give you an income of reputation for each round before you go into the next phase, okay? So you'll keep doing that, and then rest...
reputation, it's the victory points in the game.
Yeah. All right. Then you rest workers. So again, you increase your morale on all the workers that you have. Then your military advances. So anything that has a space in front of it will keep moving forward. Now, there is something that happens when a worker makes it to the wall of Atlantis and tries to enter. we never had that happen, so Randy's going to
it
have to
will
explain
flood.
that one.
It floods. So once any of these make it in there, all the cards get stacked in the middle, and any building that's there is destroyed. When anytime one of the not monsters, but one of these battling figures gets into a space where there's a building, it's automatically wiped out. So the building there gets wiped out, and everyone loses 3 favor on the favor track for letting them get there, and then they go away. So basically, it just clears out everything, and we all lose favor.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Don't let it happen.
Yeah, it sucks. All right, and then Poseidon's Fury. He gets mad when you are below a level 1. So if you've, not favored him in any way and you've lost a bunch of his favor, you'll end up paying 10 victory points.
You will also get one of these Fury cards, and that means for the next round, you will not be able to go into the area of his favored area.
Or
whichever area he points to, that area will be off limits to you, which will be painful.
We didn't do that, so we don't know what that's like.
And then also, once the round's over, you will then also reset back to 1, but that means you're liable to fall back in again.
Yeah, so don't forget to pray. All right, so then you're going to place the new cards, which basically means Randy's going to roll the dice. All right, and he's going to tell us where it's going to be, and then we're going to flip over. So if he rolled southeast, and again, based on the error is how many dice that you end up rolling to figure out the different locations, okay? So then you put new enemies on the board, and then you change first player. So the first player token rotates, and then you start the round again. So the age ends, or the error ends when you've completed 4 cubes.
Well, it depends on player count, but for 3 players, it's 4.
You're right. And then you move on to the next age. Now, you do that final scoring, but then after that, when an error is completed, those victory points don't score again. Okay?
And the end of an era will sneak up on you faster than you expect. It takes a little effort to get the criteria, but once you get it, you get a lot of it. And so it's not just one player getting 4. It's the entire group getting 4. So it can happen really quickly that suddenly everybody gets a bunch of cubes. And so that income will only work for a few rounds because you don't count the previous eras with that income. Now, at the end of the game, you will get bonus points for those cubes, though. So it's very beneficial to get a lot of those achievements unlocked.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, let's talk about scoring.
I'd say this is a crossover between Scythe and Castle Panic, and I was not expecting it to be that when I first got it out.
Yeah, well, you said Scythe, and I was like, oh, great, you're going to make me play that. And I see what you were saying, but it took all the best parts. And I thought they did a solid. I actually thought it was a lot of fun. There's a lot going on. I want to play it again. I have a feeling that, if I'd like to play this a lot more just to see how full it is and how much I'm going to love it.
I love the engine build in this. It's one of my favorite games that I've found as far as I can build it, how I can control it how I want, and score lots of points from that.
See, I'm just scared that it's like one of these games I'm going to end up loving but sucking at because I saw the points on the board. And so I'm hoping that is not the case.
But to be fair, we didn't really understand the importance of getting some of these things out earlier.
I know, that's why I want to play it again. That way I don't feel too horrible, but then I'm afraid it's going to be the same result.
Well, no, because what's going to happen is next time you're going to get all of your mechs out as soon as possible, and that's, 45 points?
Yeah, so. No, I mean, I think there's definitely, I'm nervous about giving it a score right now because there's a lot of good things happening with it, but I have a feeling that the more we play it, the more in love we might become with this game.
I have no problem. I've already played it twice, and I loved it both times. I was pleasantly surprised by this because I thought it was going to be a battle game where we were going to be fighting each other. It's not that at all. You're fighting against the horde that's attacking, and you're cooperatively doing it because we have to, or else we're all going to lose favor, or we're going to lose buildings. And buildings are important because if you lose a building and I need to use that building because it's in the right type of terrain for my benefit, I don't want you to lose your building either.
Right.
Not to mention, you can just build it again and get 5 more victory points.
Yeah.
So, it's in my best interest for that building to stay there. I love the fact of how you can control your destiny by shaping your board and building up the things you want. There's like you said several times, there's a lot of choices to make.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to decide how am I going to allocate it? Because I ran out of resources, I don't know how many times, and I hadn't got any workers out. And like my whole board is about getting workers out, and I didn't do it until very late in the game. And I kind of kicked myself about it. But then again, I also got a really cool setup with my board, and I was scoring points just from passive actions you guys were taking. So I can't say it was a bad choice. I ended up winning, and it was because I had set that board up the way I did, but I didn't get as many actions as I did last time. So there's a lot of ways to play this, and I like that.
Well, what's the score, Randy?
I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Oh wow!
I loved it. I love this game.
It.
I'm giving it room to grow to a 10.
Oh, okay. What about you? What are you thinking?
So I also thought it was going to be a very battle-centric game, and was pleasantly surprised to find that it's more of a balance of cooperative and work on your own to earn points. And I, love the theme and just all of the different options. So I also give this a 9.5. I really loved it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I think I'm gonna have to give it a 9.5 as well. I think there's a lot of potential for me to love it even more. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
grow to a 10. But just right out of that gate, that initial investment, there's a lot going on. I immediately want to play it again. And that says something for a game. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I think it's absolutely telling.
I'm glad you feel that way, because you fought me to play this game.
Well, because I thought it was going to be a battle-centric game.
When we got it out the first time, you bailed out on us. You were like, I'm not playing, I'm done.
I said, look at the time. It's time for a nap. And I did take a nap, and it was a wonderful nap.
Yeah, Rob and Caleb and I played through it, and we were like, this is not what we thought it was going to be. And I'm like, I think Miranda missed out, because I think she's going to love this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm still holding off there. But no, I the initial presence, they did a really good job.
Yes.
They did. It's well balanced. It makes a lot of, they did a good job. So, well, guys, we had a blast today. This one turned out to be what a pleasant surprise,
Yes.
or at least for me. So come back and join us. Come hang out with us again. See what new stuff we got out. Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.